Alrighty, let's talk about Netflix's live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I have not watched the original animated show. I am somewhat familiar with the ideas and the lore, but I am not super familiar with it. I will be watching the animated show now. I wanted to wait until after the live action, so that way I can go into the live action one fairly unbiased. The only Last Airbender content media I've ever seen is the M. Night Shyamalan movie, which you would have seen on the channel with my 366 Days of Movie Challenge. But let's get into the show, and I must say that this is a very interesting take on the series, from what I understand. It does a really good job of capturing the story and making a new, way. It's a new adaptation of this classic tale that you've seen in the animated show, and it's definitely a bit more mature in terms of the content you are seeing on the screen, because the themes of the show, from what I understand, have always been very mature and very ahead of its time for its audience. And this show I think it might dumb it down a little bit. Again, not sure. But one thing that I must say that I know a lot about the animated show versus this live action adaptation is that in the original, Aang and Sokka are very, childish. They like to goof off. They like to have fun. One thing that I noticed with the live-action one is that they do take this show a lot more serious. And it's not a bad thing, but it's also, too serious of a topic when something is as silly as this can ruin it, and it could take away the fun from it. But I must say that it is still fairly enjoyable for what it is. I think it's great to see this version, as it does enhance upon the original attempt at the live action, but there are still its issues. I think that some of these episodes just drag a little too much. I don't know if it's because of the storyline that the original show covers in those few episodes, but it does just drag in the middle, about episodes, I think 5. Episode 5 was one that I really had a tough time watching, as it just felt just a little off and a little boring. But there's enough in there that is really interesting and really fresh take. I do really like the special effects in this show. I do think that they look pretty good. They look really good, and I do think that they flow really well. But I do think that the main issue with the show is that it's lacking that hyper feel to it, because it was originally animated, and so you can exaggerate a lot more in animation than you can in live action. And I must say that one thing that I'm fairly certain happens in the first season of the animated show is that Aang learns waterbending, and spoiler alert for this one is that he doesn't learn waterbending, and it's driving me insane. But it's a good show if you have no connection to the original. That is going to be my take on it. I enjoyed it. I had a fun time with it. I see potential. Much like the Percy Jackson show, I see potential for the future, but I do think that this window of potential is much lower than the Percy Jackson one, as I do think that at this point they built up such a tone, and they really decided to stick to it, unlike Percy Jackson, where they were experimenting a lot within the show. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about this. I do recommend checking it out. It's entertaining for the most part, but I do not think it'll probably be able to top the original. But yeah, that's officially it. I do suggest, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below if you've seen the show or what your thoughts on it are. I will be potentially making a more in-depth spoiler review after I finish season 1 of the animated show. So if you want, stick around, and if you want that, comment down below that you want it, and I'll make it. But yeah, other than that, I'll leave you guys to it.